to hearing complaints about crimes or, other things that are just ordinary stuff, just violations of the Constitution by federal officials or agents. Now, I'll show later how that panel would be selected. I call it, as a preliminary name, the Federal Action Review Commission. Because it's not just an ordinary grand jury. It would have the powers of a grand jury to subpoena witnesses, to conduct hearings, but when it came time for it to present a report, if it found a federal official was unconstitutional, then the effect of that finding would be to require all state officials and agents and contractors to refuse to cooperate with that federal action. And it would encourage state citizens to also refuse to cooperate with it. States, some successful, some not so successful. There have been a number of proposals concerning recent legislation, particularly the Health Care Act. But unfortunately, most of those proposals are ill-conceived. For example, one of them simply passed a bill in the state legislature making it a crime for a federal agent to collect an insurance premium. Well, that won't work. There are a lot of reasons it won't work, and get into that later. But it's a simplistic approach to a very complex problem. In general, you cannot arrest federal agents for doing their job. The only thing that would happen if you tried to do that is it would be immediately, probably within an hour after the arrest was made, removed to federal court and dismissed, killing the case. And as far as federal agents, IRS agents, enforcing the collection of health care premiums, Congress shot down the most obvious way to deal with that, because it specifically forbade IRS agents to apply liens or levies to anyone to collect the insurance premium. They can't levy, they can't lien. So you might ask, well, how they're going to collect an insurance premium if they can't levy and they can't lien? Well, the answer is that if they have you from some other source, let's say, for example, your employer withholds money and you apply a fund and say, oh, this money is for the health insurance premium, and you've already paid it. Oh, and by the way, you owe us about $800, which is a fee, in unpaid taxes. You're still short. So if you try to sue them to saying it's unconstitutional to, collect these insurance premiums, it says, well, wait a minute. You have to, under the law, you have to pay all of your taxes and penalties and interest before you can sue to get your money back. And by the way, since you failed to pay $800 on your taxes, not your insurance premium, on your taxes, we have imposed.
She'd like to speak pretty soon, and she thinks that it would be good to go ahead and do it over here. Is that okay to go ahead and get going and do that?
It's recorded.
He's speaking.
Oh, good. I didn't know that.
Okay.
Sorry to bother.
It was.
As soon as he's done.
Okay.
So the problem is there that now they can add. Let's say it started with $800 short. You can easily run it up to $8,000, even $80,000 in interest and penalties. you've got to pay all of that, plus your attorney's fees, all to get them to refund $800. So they have thought about all these things. The legislation that was proposed by Leo Berman just did not understand what they're up against. And the lawsuit that was filed originally in Florida by McCollum and signed on to by 19 state attorney general also failed to be designed for that problem. The lawsuit was written by a friend of mine who wrote it at a time while the bill was still in the House being debated and before its final form. And they proceeded to try to litigate it as though they were litigating the bill in the House and not the one that got enacted. Well, we just got a decision in Florida. They struck out all but 2 of the claims, and those 2 will probably not survive for some of the reasons I've indicated. If you're going to litigate, and it's certainly worth litigating if you do it right, you have to know what you're doing. And none of these state attorney generals knew what they were doing. And I pointed this out to them. About to my friend David, we do